Okay, let's take a look at slope and points. How do you find the rule or equation when you have 2 points and one is not the y-intercept? That's kind of what we'll take a look at here in this quick little video. We need to remind ourselves about a couple of things. One is, when we see the equation of a line, it looks like this. It's in that structure of y equals mx plus b. And we have to realize that there are 2 things that we need to know. We need to know, hey, what's the y-intercept, which here is denoted by yellow, and then what's the slope, which we have here in green. So we can see that by looking at a graph, those are easier to find. Well, what if it's not on a graph? What if we're just given 2 points? We're just given a point and a slope. How do we figure out how to get this equation going? How do we figure out where we're going to write this rule for that equation of a line? Well, we have to remember that the slope formula can be used when we have 2 points. Y minus y divided by x minus x, the change in y divided by the change in x, or the rise over the run. That's going to help us to get there. Let's start basic first, and let's just start with a point and a slope. Now, we're going to use that equation, y equals mx plus b, which represents the slope and the y-intercept. And we're going to remember that when we have an ordered pair, that represents the x and the y. All we have to do is take this x and y and the slope and replace what we see in this equation itself, and then we would be able to find that y-intercept. So we would say that y is -3, the slope is 4, the x is -1, and what we're looking for is the y-intercept. We would just begin to solve. 4 times -1 is -4, plus the y-intercept. We would then add 4 to both sides and find out that the y-intercept was equal to 1. Well, now that we know that the y-intercept is equal to 1 and the slope is 4, we can take both these pieces of information and write an equation for the line. Y equals 4x plus 1. So again, those are the things that we need to find out. So if we can think about terms of order or steps, we need to find the y-intercept and then write an equation. We're going to use the equation of slope-intercept form to help us to do that. I'll try it one more time. Again, we have the point here and a slope. The point is -2, 4, and the slope is 3. We're going to use the formula of slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and we're going to replace what we see. That 4 is going to go in the y spot, this -2 is going to go in the x spot, and the 3 is going to go in the m spot. So we're going to rewrite, and then we're going to simplify. 3 times -2 is -6. Plus the y-intercept is 4. So -6 plus something will give us 4. In order to do that, we use inverse operations. The opposite of -6 is a +6. And 4 plus 6 is 10. So we find out that the y-intercept is 10. The y-intercept is 10, and the slope is 3. I can take this information and write myself an equation of the line. Y equals 3x plus 10. Okay, now how do we do it if we're looking at 2 points? Well, if we're just looking at 2 points, we have to go back and remember we talked about, got to remember that slope formula. So let's do that first. Let's circle the y's, which is 8 and 2. And we're going to put that in the numerator because that's where our rise goes. So we'll drop 8 and 2 up there, and we'll drop 4 and -4 in the denominator. Now remember, this -4 is a -4. We're finding the difference between these numbers, or how far are these numbers apart, is really what we're asking. So 8 minus 2 is 6, because isn't 8 and 2, they're 6 apart? That makes sense. 2 negatives next to each other will make a positive, which make it 4 plus 4, which is 8. And 4 and -4 are 8 spaces apart, so that does make sense as well. 6 divided by 8, we would simplify it by dividing the top and the bottom by 2. And then we would get that slope is equal to 3/4. So now that we know that slope is equal to 3/4, we need to pick a point. Let me erase what we got up here for a second. And we're going to keep the slope of 3/4, and I get to choose a point. Whether I choose 4, 8 or -4, 2, it doesn't matter. I'm going to choose 4, 8 just because they're both positive, and that kind of keeps things simple. Again, we're going back to what we just did a moment ago. We're going to replace what we know. This is the x, this is the y, and the slope is down here. So we're going to replace in this equation. So y will be 8, the slope will be 3/4, the x will be 4, and we're trying to find the y-intercept. So divide by 1, we would simplify over here. 3/4 times 4 over 1. We know 4 over 4 is equal to 1, so that will cancel out. So then we end up with 3 times 1, which is just 3 plus the y-intercept. We would then subtract 3 from both sides. Some people might already see what 3 plus something is 8. They know that it's equal to 5. And so we're going to take that information that the y-intercept is 5 and the slope is 3/4, and we're going to write our equation y equals 3/4 x plus 5. Now, if we can think about this in terms of steps, there's only 3 easy steps that we can do. First step, find the slope. Second step, find the y-intercept. Third step, write your equation of your line. Very straightforward. We're going to try it one more time. We're going to go through all those steps. So we'll take these points. We'll just deal with something that's all positive here. 2, 3, and 4, 7. And we're going to find the slope first. So using the slope formula, we're going to find the distance between these points. So I'm going to put 3 and 7, which is the rise or the y in the numerator, and 2 and 4, the x, the run in the denominator. I'm going to simplify this. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm able to simplify this down. So far I have a slope. Again, I can choose a point. I might choose a small point. Doesn't matter which one I choose. They'll both work out fine. Plug it into y equals mx plus b, which is the slope-intercept form. So far I know the slope and a point. So I'm going to put that this is the point of 3, slope of 2, and the other part of the point, which is 2 plus the y-intercept. I'm going to simplify it. 2 times 2 is 4. So 4 plus a number is going to give me 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm subtracting 4 from both sides. And 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So I find out that the y-intercept is negative 1. Taking this information that the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is negative 1, I write my equation, y equals 2x minus 1. Hopefully this will help you be able to write equations when you don't have all the information.